Hello, David Paul here. This is the second part, what you would call video 2, I guess, part 2 of me talking about ADHD, because I used up the first 30 minutes on the last video. Okay, so if you've just tuned into this one, please watch one before you get to this, because it's a narrative, it's a story of my journey through it. What I started video 1 with was the intention of saying thank you to all the people who are watching my channel, 263 of you who are consistently remaining with the channel, which I find remarkable, and hopefully that'll go up, because I want to succeed by my own efforts, and I'm not that interested in get rich quick schemes or something, or I don't know, like being some kind of big YouTube star, unless it's based on something really sound, like following a thing that I actually want to do. So all this stuff about, oh, get into this and flag that up and make connections, I'm not doing that. I'm going to concentrate on my people, you. Okay, talking about ADHD again. So we're at the stage now where this psychiatrist has got me on this 36 milligrams or whatever of this concerta, methylphenidate, and it's feeling like I'm kind of tripping here, you know, too much. And I had such a battle trying to talk them down to a lower level, but I think I got them down back to the 17. And I was concerned about this thing of becoming dependent on the medication, and I was also beginning to have ideas about ADHD, which are the more modern way of seeing things. So I'm thinking, do you want to be medicating this thing? Now, I'm not saying to people don't take medication. You've got to do what's good for you, and even so, your brain is different to mine, the biochemistry of it. And also, as I say, you meet one person with ADHD, you've met one person with ADHD. Everybody is different. So anyway, I get off the medication, and but looking at the way the medication worked with me, one thing that I did notice, which is why I would say try it, give it a go, although you may not be committing to being on medication all the time, I would think it's a good idea to try it. Because what happened was, it felt to me like when I went on the medication, a lot of ideas started to join together, and things started to make sense and become more rational and whatever. And I think my analogy that I would say, it's rather like you've got a mobile phone and you're using a mobile phone, you're doing calculations on it, you're doing this, that and the other, maybe typing up some letter or whatever, things that don't really require being online all the time. And you might be away on holiday, or you might lose access to the internet, and then you come back and it says updates available and this, that and the other, and also the phone doesn't work so well, you know. And you click on the updates and it goes update, and it uploads all this stuff, and then it starts working great now, you know. So it seemed to me that when I went on the medication, what it did is it was kind of a lifelong download of all this stuff that hadn't, you know, things hadn't joined up in the past, and then you begin to think, oh my God, that's why I did that. That's why I was late that time. Like I turned up one day late for, you know, I was a policeman years ago, and I turned up the academy a day late because I thought the starting date was then. Slipping up on little things that you do all the time. That's why I lose things. I don't lose things so much now. I'm really a lot better than I used to be, because now, knowing that it's the ADHD, I have strategies to avoid it, you know. And in a sense, being diagnosed with ADHD, you become aware of the hidden saboteur. So you know you're going to screw up on this, that and the other. So you make those things impossible. For example, you can make shopping lists so that you don't forget an important thing. You can make sure that your keys are in a particular place. You make sure that, for example, losing things from a wallet, that's a bad thing. What if I lose my bank debit card? And because I'm in different countries, that'd be disastrous for me. And I have done that in the past, and now I never do that, because I have a purse. If you're a man and you've got ADHD, get your wallet, empty it, throw it in a bin, and go and buy a purse, and put everything in the purse. And that's one of the strategies, you know. So constantly coming up with these strategies. So anyway, there I was with my ADHD, and I'm teaching in this really tough school, and I decided that these kids are giving me such a hard time. I don't know if they're going to, because I'm having such a hard time with them, maybe the school's not going to give me a follow-up contract the following year. And the head of department I was with, my head of department was an absolute bitch. And I thought, I've got to get out of here. It was so stressful. I would go in the elevator, the lift, and it would take 20 to 30 seconds, because it was a slow thing, to go from one level to another. And that was like a small respite from these kids who were on your case all the time, so that I could frame my thoughts. Anyway, exhausting time. So the next thing is, I left that place and I went to a Jewish school, and I worked at this Jewish school, and I loved this place, you know. They had pictures of the school trip on the wall, Auschwitz. They're taking the kids to Auschwitz. And I thought, this is something in the Jewish cultural mentality, you know, that they can never shed this. You can't forget about it. People have tried to do you in. They've tried to exterminate you 100%, you know, with a passion. So you can't forget this, and society should never forget it. And I thought, this is, what a tremendous burden this is, you know. And I thought, what I want to do here is I want to be part of the solution to help these people. So I tried my best there, and for 6 months I worked at that school. And the kids in that school, man, they were off their nut, you know. They were really crazy. They're all over the place. They're hyper intelligent. 93% pass rate, A star to C, which is the benchmark of schools. Most schools would be happy to get to 50. But the behaviour was atrocious all over the place. I now realise how I should have been teaching these kids in a different way. The behaviour would still be bad, but at least I'd have done a deal with them, and it wouldn't have been so stressful for me. But I tried my best with them, you know. And anyway, one day I was having a particularly tough time, and I had gone to see the psychiatrist to get some medication, because I was off the meds, and I thought, if I go on the meds, I'll be able to function better. So I go see the psychiatrist, and he prescribes me the stuff, and turn up at the school, and that day they'd messed the timetable around. You may not like routines in your own life in the thing that you're doing, but as an ADHD, it's really good to have a very structured work environment, or whatever it is you're doing, you know. So what they'd done is they'd changed the timetable that day or whatever. They'd told people I'd missed it or whatever. So I go along and ask somebody, I say, like, where's my class? Where's my class? And they're away on a trip, or God knows what, or they're coming an hour later, or I'd got the time out of sync, God knows what. And I thought, what do I do now? And I can't say, I'm having a problem, please sort me out, point me in the direction I need to go, and then I'll do it. You can take me and throw me, because this is a feature of ADHD, you can throw me into a classroom in a stressful situation, and I will pick up the lesson that isn't something I've prepared even, and I can just do it, and I excel at that. And the reason is because people with ADHD, they've got lower dopamine levels, so that the stressful situation jacks them up, and then they become normal. So in stressful situations we excel. Could there be a reason in evolution why that might be a useful thing? Yes, I would think so, because you want somebody who functions well in a stressful situation and doesn't panic or go off it or flight or flee or whatever. You need somebody with a cool head, and that's us, you know. But of course, most of the time you're not there. You're just at a normal level. So you're not the hero then. So I thought, if I just get pointed in the direction, like, what am I supposed to be doing next? And I got my lesson ready, and I'm standing there, and along comes the deputy head of the school, a woman, and the head of another deputy head, something like that. They come in. I say, "Are you okay, Mr. Newton-Scott?" So what do I go and say? Typical outburst. "It's okay. It's just my ADHD kicking in. I'll be okay in a minute. I've taken my meds and I'll settle down." Now, I had never concealed the ADHD to them when I took the job on, but I don't think they'd clicked it, you know, because a lot of people, they go around and say, "Oh, I'm a bit ADHD at times," and it just becomes like a buzzword, you know, and people don't think you actually have ADHD. Okay, so alright, so they just go off. Minutes later, the headmaster comes in. He said, "Mr. Newton-Scott, could you get your stuff?" "Yeah, sure. What's the matter?" "Oh, just come with me." And he takes me along to the rabbi's office, the menahel, the guy who's the boss. And the menahel says, "You know, it's not working out. It's not working out." I said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I adore this school. I love this school. What's the matter?" He said, "We're going to have to terminate your contract." I said, "What is it? Is it about my ADHD or something?" He said, "Oh, I just think it's best that we just say things haven't worked out." They had 4 physics teachers in 2 years. In other words, every 6 months they get fired for some damn thing or other. Like saying the universe is like older than 5,400 years old is a good one, you know. So you mustn't say anything that does that. And I accept this, you know, that's their world. But it broke my heart. I could have cried. It went through me like a sword. Because I loved the school and I felt like I was doing something good. You know, the thing as a teacher is like, it's shit at times. Let's put it that way. But you go home in an evening and you're tired and this and that and the other, and you just feel that you did a good thing. You can look God in the eye and you say, "God, I did a good thing today. I was a teacher. And he fired me. And now I was not a teacher. not a teacher anymore. He's taken away my soul, you know. It broke my heart. So anyway, I go home and I get in with an agency, and this agency, I decide that, you know, time's getting on, and I think, I don't know if I had past retirement age or whether I was just around about it, and I needed to continue working just for a little bit more. So what I did is I signed up with this agency, and they sent me to a lovely school in Berkshire. I loved that school, and really nice kids and so on. And then COVID came along, and I did nothing for like 6 months. I didn't have internet access, so they were paying me, and that allowed me to get the boat finished, and so that we could sell it, and a house in the north and whatever. And I functioned okay there. I was all right, you know. But then I got into a situation where I thought I'd better not talk about the ADHD, because I need to have a job, I need to work, and these damn people, they need to get out a bit more, you know. They need to like widen their ideas, open your mind up or whatever. And I thought, these guys are going to fire me, and I need about 6 months more work or whatever, and they're going to damn well fire me. So I kept quiet about it. And in the teaching profession, if you mention you've got ADHD, Christ, it's like, get the cross out, you know, like vampire in the house, you know. So time has gone on, and I've worked for this agency, and I split up with my wife, and I ended up in a marina up in the north of England in where was it? It's on that channel, it's Fleetwood. And then I sold that boat, and I moved down to watch it, bought a boat there, stayed in the marina there for 6 months, and then carried on teaching with this agency back and forwards. And suddenly it's dried up again. The work has just dried up mysteriously. And I think it's probably because of I'm a difficult person to place, because I don't really want a job. I don't want to work anymore. I want to get on with the things I'm doing, which is about what the channel is about. And pursue these ideas that ADHD generates. So I start to ramble a bit, but I don't want to plan this out. I want to talk from the heart, as I say. So anyway, the teaching's dried up. That's fine, because I'm now at in fusion energy, it's what you call burn stage, when you can sustain yourself. I'm now in a stage where I just don't have to work if I don't want to. I've got this cabin here. If I get rumbled here and like forced to leave here, which is not going to happen, it's just not going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. It's not going to happen. So this situation is going to get better. The house in Portugal, I've done some work on that. I'm in a situation where I'm actually able to live inside of it. You're like camping inside the house, but it's better than being outside. So that's okay. That's an improvement. I have the land in the Philippines, and I can go over there, and I can camp there. And if I am not able to, if this woman if I get on with her, and she moves in with me, and I'm not able to provide adequate accommodation, well, I can simply say, just go home, and I'll work on this, and you can come over when it's done. So I'm in a safe zone, and I have one pension and two small pensions, which are enough to cover everything. And if I'm careful, everything will just work out. So I'm now in a position, this teacher with the ADHD, I'm in the position of being able to be open about it. And you guys can't. And that's really sad. You guys with ADHD out there who are like half my age just can't do it, you know. And I would be very reluctant to reveal that I had ADHD if I was like a younger person. So so now I'm cutting loose on this channel. This channel is about the ideas that ADHD brings and where you can take it, and the creativity that comes with it. So anybody who doesn't know about ADHD, you will check it out if you get diagnosed, and you'll discover that one of the plus points is that you you have a lot of creativity. So my idea is, why don't we take the ADHD folks and let them rip, you know, with the ADHD and the creativity, and see what comes out of it. So that's what the channel's about. It's about documenting where I run with the ball. My view of ADHD is that it's a natural thing, and it's part of, we're kind of like a subspecies within humanity, and our function is to be hunter-gatherers, which we are. I'm an absolutely superb hunter-gatherer. I spot stuff all over. I took a walk down the canal and I spotted 3 thorns growing down into the water in the canal, and they're forming like a long piece of string. And I thought, man, this is a crappy place to take a walk. I'm never coming down here again. But even then, I spotted 3 things that would be useful. So what I'll do is I'll go back there, cut them off, and I'll bury them, and they will be camouflage for the cabin. Because a pile of thorns over the top of the best thing you can do for these stealth cabins is put a great big load of blackberry thorns over the top of them, and then nobody interferes with that. Who the hell wants to walk through natural barbed wire to get to it? If you've got a route going through for you, then you don't need to worry about it. So anyway, that's an example of just what happens, you know. And you think in a completely different way. You don't think in straight lines. You've got your heads all over the place, and you're looking at things, and you take an interest in that, and then you move off into something else. And all these things are all there, and these things you've explored, and then one day you get an idea, and all this stuff just all joins up. So you've like hunter-gathered not only things but ideas as well. So embrace it and enjoy it, and realize your limitations in terms of the things that the neurotypicals do that you can't do, but they cannot do what you do. I often say, I've heard this, in Silicon Valley, people are microdosing themselves with LSD, microdosing LSD. So they're sort of normal, they can function, but they're taking small amounts of LSD. And the reason they say they're doing this is because, can you imagine this? They want to liberate and open up their minds and make themselves more creative in this, that and the other. In other words, they want to be more like us. They're just trying to be more like us. And we have it already. There's an awful lot blabbed on about AI, artificial intelligence. And I've taken a look at this, and it doesn't look like anything that the ADHD could possibly, the ADHD community couldn't possibly surpass 1,000-fold. We're really out there, you know. We can do it. So you may have a struggle getting a degree, you might have a struggle getting through school, you might struggle with everything, but you have your worth in society. And that's it. So, got fired. The teaching's dried up now. And that's it. So, I'm kind of, as I say, been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. I'm pretty good at going into a school, handling kids, handling tough kids, getting through the day, and it's kind of my forte, you know. In teaching, there's a time you're riding home in your car and a thought passes through your mind, and it comes at different times for different teachers, and you just think, you know, I think I've got this. And then it suddenly becomes easy, and a lot of people never get to that stage because they quit before then. So if you're going to quit as a teacher, don't. Just try a different school, because teaching's a great job. It is everything that you thought it was. It's just that circumstances are against you. And that's that. So that's where it goes. So what do I do about the ADHD? How do I treat it now? Well, I'm up to 26 minutes again. So I'm going to finish on this and stop talking about it. But I have paid big attention to nutrition, because I think people who are struggling with the ADHD, rather than it being a neurodivergence, I think if it's becoming a problem, I think it could be down to nutrition. So I've been following the carnivore diet for a while, and then I've come off that and I'm eating carbohydrates now. But what I do is I quite religiously eliminate sugar, and I'm not eating high oxalate food, which I think is not something you want to be eating. And you don't want to be eating what do you call them, seed oils. You want to get your omega-6 oil and omega-3 oil ratio in your diet correct. Sort that out. And I got a big boost out of the carnivore diet. Now the funny thing about the carnivore diet is I felt like I was on meds. Now they say that is due to the fact that you get ketones. Now if you think of a hunter-gatherer tribe, you're not going to have a lot of carbohydrates around. So maybe the natural state for an ADHD person is to be in deficit on the carbohydrates, as though you were on meds, and enjoying that sort of ketone benefit without being fully in a ketogenic diet, just having some ketones in your system. So to that end, when I first had the diagnosis, I started experimenting with MCT oil, coconut oil derivative, and I found that helped a lot. It doesn't do so much now, because I think the adjustments, I don't think it's necessary. I think the adjustments I've made in my diet have sort of rectified that. So I'm getting the ketones naturally. So I'm eating a lot more saturated fat, more meat, which is nutritionally dense, getting that, and vegetables which don't contain oxalates or don't have any particular issues with them. And then along comes something big. What I've discovered recently is I've been watching a guy called Dr. John Chappell. No, it's Campbell. Campbell. Dr. John Campbell. So Dr. John Campbell is a big guy on the vitamin D scene. And kind of the penny dropped, because I've had to like obsessively go through stuff on diet and whatnot, because my daughter-in-law got diagnosed with cancer, and she was really advanced. And she has heeded some of my advice, which the big one was cutting out sugar altogether and cutting down on carbohydrates and eating more meat. And along with the chemotherapy and the radiotherapy, they've managed to pull that situation right back, and she is substantially better. She's not cured, but the cancers have shrunk. They've operated, removed them, and she's like the prognosis is good for her. I'm not saying that she's cured, but it's had an impact. So anyway, I start looking into more and more and more and more stuff, and then I trip up on this issue of the vitamin D and connections. I make the connection in my head. Could it be that the carnivore diet, the efficacious, or one of the big efficacious things, there are lots of good things, primarily the nutritional density, good, lots of minerals and lots of vitamins and everything in that. But one of the big things is that, could it be that society as a whole, we're all suffering from vitamin D deficiency? And then you go and start on this carnivore diet, and then suddenly you've cured your vitamin D deficiency, and then you're thinking, aha, it's because of the meat. And yes, it is, but the primary thing in the meat that you're getting is that vitamin D, possibly, because nobody's done any research on it, nobody's monitored the vitamin D levels, nobody's got a number on the level of vitamin D deficiency in the general populace, and so on. It only came to light with COVID. So I'm taking vitamin D supplements. It takes a while for this to work in. I've been increasing the level. I'm hoping to run at, say, 10,000 international units a day. In sunshine, the body produces 25,000 units of vitamin D per day in the body, produced in the sunshine. So that will vary tremendously, and in the north where we're living here in the UK. So in the winter time you're going to be very low. One of the problems you get with vitamin D deficiency is panic attacks. People were reporting that. And if you look back on my videos, I'm going to start numbering videos, but if you look back at the time I was staying in that stealth cabin up in Watford, the first one, I was having panic attacks all the time, and I was desperately poor. There's a fly on the screen. I was desperately poor. I had a rotten diet. It was dark. It was winter time. Just everything was against it. And I'm having panic attacks, which is it's a red flag for being vitamin D deficient. So I'm going around in a state of terror. I was even having panic attacks about the possibility of having a panic attacks when the night came on, you know. And I think that's was due to the vitamin D deficiency. And now I get a bit claustrophobic in here time to time, but it's getting better day by day, you know. And I wake up and I see the roof and I see all this wood. There's something really nice about living in a wooden structure, and I don't feel any of that stuff now. So I'm wondering, I'm talking to you, to the tribe, as we call ourselves, the tribe, the ADHD people. Consider the possibility that you might be deficient in vitamin D and give it a go. Now I've hit 34 minutes. Oh my God, I hope this uploads. So let's leave it there. Atilago. Makita tayo sakana. See you later. Jesus be with you.